Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another modern deck tech, and today is a very special one. Today, we're going to be talking about Gruul Lutri Aggro. I'm very excited to bring this very funny and cool list to you. As always, at the end of the video, let me know in the comment section below, is there a card that I didn't include in this basically commander deck that I definitely should have? And if you have any suggestions for upcoming videos, just let me know in the comment section below. So Gruul Lutri Aggro. First off, for those who might not know, what is Lutri? Lutri, the Spell Chaser, 3/2 for 1, blue-red hybrid, blue-red hybrid for a legendary creature elemental otter. Each non-land card in your starting hand has a different name. It is our companion and has flash. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, spoiler alert, we're not going to have a ton of instants and sorceries that we can copy. Yes, we do have them. It's a thing that will definitely happen sometimes. But the idea behind it is we want to be playing, basically commander. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. So, that being said, we're going to be having a whole bunch of one-ofs. So, for those who are longtime viewers of the channel, the layout's going to be a little bit different than normal. Normally, I have like the number of cards that we're playing at the top of the screen, and then the bottom, I'll have it in US dollars. A little bit different this time just because, obviously, our entire main board, except for our lands, are all one-ofs. So, that being said, I'm also not going to be, going crazy in-depth on most of the cards. Some of them I will, some of them are very self-explanatory. So, let's go ahead and hop into here. Okay, so I have it all sorted by converted mana cost. So let's go ahead and start with the 1-drops. So we're going to want a bit of accelerant. So that's pretty much what all of our 1-drops are. We're playing an Arbor Elf, Birds of Paradise, 1 Delighted Halfling, 1 Llanowar Elves, 1 Noble Hierarch, and 1 Ignoble Hierarch. The main thing with Llanowar Elves is I wanted 8 I essentially wanted 8 dorks, so that's why I'm playing Llanowar Elves. I'm not playing an Elvish Mystic, but there really wasn't a better option for the most part, so that's why I'm playing the Llanowar Elves. And then ending our 1-drops with 1 Ragavan, Nimble Pilfer, and Utopia Sprawl. Obviously both fantastic. It stinks that we can't really take advantage of the Arbor of Utopia Sprawl thing very often. Obviously, there's a chance it'll happen, but not a very high chance. So those are all of our 1-drops we're playing. Let's go and hop into the 2-drops, which I would say are pretty simple. We're playing a Wrenn 6, a Questing Druid, and we're also playing a Scavenging Ooze and a Roiling Vortex. We are an aggro deck, so that's why we're playing the Roiling Vortex. It's a really good hate piece in the format as well. Spoiler alert, we're playing 2 4-drops that are technically not super good with the Roiling Vortex, but obviously we're only playing 2 of them, so it's not going to come up very often, but it is a thing that definitely could happen. So we're not playing a ton of 2-drops. Let's go and hop into our 3-drops, which is my personal favorite thing of the deck, I would say. We're playing a Gruul Spellbreaker, a Klothys, God of Destiny, a Mygla's Mace Crusher, a Tireless Tracker, a Reckless Stormseeker, an Endurance, which again doesn't work crazy well with the Roiling Vortex, but again, not going to happen very often. And we're also playing a Domri Anarch of Bolas, a Magus of the Moon, and a Blood Moon. Obviously, we got to have a couple Blood Moon effects, and those are the best ones at our disposal. So, those are all the 3-drops that we're playing. Let's go and hop into the 4-drops. We're not playing very many, though. We're playing a Bloodbraid Elf and a Geological Appraiser, which obviously was the 4-drops I was talking about earlier with the Roiling Vortex. We're also playing a Questing Beast, because why not? The card is absolutely fantastic. And then rounding out our 4-drops, we were playing a Hazoret the Fervent and a Chandra Torch of Defiance. Hazoret, I would say, is definitely the spiciest card for sure of the 4-drops. It's just really cool. I mean, Indestructible Haste can really get our opponents sometimes. Sometimes they are just not going to have an answer for Hazoret. So those are all of our 4-drops. Let's hop into our 5-drops. We're not playing a crazy amount of them. We're only playing 4 5-drops. We're playing 1 Elder Gargaroth, 1 Thundermaw Hellkite, obviously one of my personal favorite cards. Then we're also playing a Stormwrath Dragon and a Glorybringer. Obviously, 3 of the 4 5-drops having haste is pretty huge. Again, we're not, we're an aggro deck. We're not like a monster deck, so we don't want to go crazy high or anything like that. But that's why we're playing the specific 5-drops. We're also not playing any 6-drops. Spoiler alert. We're not playing any Carnage Tower in the deck. I highly considered it, but I did not end up putting it in the deck. So last thing we got to talk about is the removal spells, which obviously all of these we can technically take advantage of with Lutri. We're playing 1 Lightning Bolt, 1 Flame Slash, 1 Dead Gone. Then we're also playing 1 Unholy Heat, 1 Cast into Fire, and 1 Bone Crusher Giant. I know it's technically a creature, but you know, it's got the removal spell on it. I wanted to slot it in here. Cast of the Fire is pretty sweet. You know, obviously, like, we can hit like some Ragavans, some Darcys, that kind of thing with it in the early game. But the main thing is exiling the artifact for the One Ring. I decided it was good enough to be able to put it in the main board as a removal spell, but also have a One Ring option. So that's our entire main board except for our lands, which our lands are honestly pretty simple for the most part. We're playing 4 Wooded Foothills, 4 Verdant Catacombs, and 3 Stomping Grounds. Verdant Catacombs, you technically can play any green fetch. This was the second cheapest. Well, this is the cheapest green fetch, you know, that we could also play. You generally want to play 4 Wooded Foothills, but you could really play Mysterine Forest, or you could play, what's the other one? Windswept Heath. You could also technically play that one as well. And then we're also playing 1 Commercial District, 1 Boseiju Who Endures, and 1 Sokenzen. We are playing the Wrenn and 6, so, you know, we can definitely do some good things with Boseiju and Sokenzen. Obviously, Commercial District being the new dual land that we can search up. You know, if we don't have anything to do, if we're just fetching on the end step, we can just go ahead and pop in the Commercial District and get a free Surveil, which is pretty sweet. And then rounding out our lands, we're playing 1 Kessig Wolf Run for a little bit of spice, 7 forests, and 2 mountains as well. And for our spicy basic land of the day, I know I featured these before on the channel. These are the unsanctioned full arts. This is personally what I play in my modern Gruul decks personally. So yeah, just figured I'd throw those in there. Definitely a huge fan of the artwork in general. So don't go anywhere though. We still have to talk about our sideboard as well as some budget options. So I did assemble a sideboard, which if you want to know the exact numbers, the link for the deck list is in the description below if you want to know the exact things I'm playing. But this is more of just like a general what you should kind of be sideboarding for. So obviously we're gonna want some artifact and enchantment hate, which this kind of is included with the flying removal, but Pick Your Poison is really, really good. I also put in Force of Vigor. That one's also very, very good. Technically with the artifact, hey, I also have a Brotherhood's End, which is also a little bit of board wipe removal. Cascade Hate, we're definitely going to want a little bit of that. So I did put in a Chalice of the Void. That's kind of the main option, but we also do have Voidmere at our disposal. Just keep in mind though with Voidmere, if we play a Voidmere and then we Cascade, we're not able to cast that spell, it will be countered. So, you know, again, not going to come up very often just because we're only playing 2 of the Cascaders, but something to keep in mind. We're also going to want some Graveyard Hate. I personally have, I've got, technically we have a little bit of Graveyard Hate in the main board, but I also have a Stone of Erect and a Relic of Progenitus, both fantastic options. And then flying removal spells, mostly because of Murktide Region, also even cards like Darcy, that kind of thing. Personally, I have in there Plummet, and I have, Pick Your Poison as the main flying removal spells, just to be able to take down those pesky Murktide Regions, which get very, very big and kill us very, very fast. So something to keep in mind. And the last thing to talk about is the budget options. So I didn't go crazy into detail because I think it's very self-explanatory for the most part. So obviously, budget dual lands, you know, that means playing like the pain lands, you can play the check lands, you could play the fast lands, you could play the slow lands, really just obviously cutting the fetches and shocks is pretty huge, and also cutting the Boseiju as well. And this is really self-explanatory, but replace any pricey creatures, you know, so if you don't want to have a Ragavan, put in an Elvish Mystic. If you don't want to pay for, man, I'm trying to think, most of the creatures are not very expensive for the most part, but if you don't want to pay like $6 for a Klothys, throw in any aggressive red-green creature. Really just whatever creature that you don't have, just go ahead and pick another solid one on that same, you know, converted mana cost for the most part. You can really, you know, mix and match them. For the most part, I just picked the best ones relatively for those creature types, you know. Like if you don't have like an extra Klothys or a Hazoret laying around, just throw in a Rampaging Raptor. Really just whatever for the most part. It's really up to you. You're obviously, there's a ton of room for customization with this deck. You know, don't be afraid to go and switch things up just because if you want to play your personal pet card, which is basically what I just did. That's basically just all of my pet cards. You can replace those, no problem. This is not like a for sure 100% list. This is just the general guideline if you want to play something spicy at your next FNM or with some friends when you're jamming some Modern. So that takes us to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. This is definitely probably the funniest deck tech I've ever done here on the channel. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the list. So I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.